Ladies and gentlemen, there's a moment in every deep connection where intimacy reveals more than words ever could. It's in that sacred silence between two souls where truth unfolds, not just about physical attraction, but about emotional commitment, about safety, about real love. We often think love shows up in grand gestures or poetic texts, but you'll learn more about how someone feels about you in their smallest, quietest moments of vulnerability, and that is never more true than during intimacy. The first thing a man does when his love is real is that he becomes incredibly focused on your emotional experience, not just your physical one, because when a man truly loves you, the entire moment transforms from something purely essential into something deeply emotional, into a form of connection that goes way beyond what the eyes can see or what the body can feel. He's not there to take, he's there to give. He's there to listen with more than just his ears. He's listening with his entire presence. His heart is attuned to yours, and you can feel it. You can feel that shift in energy when he's not just trying to impress you, but trying to honor what the moment means for you, not just for him. And that's something you can't force, because when love is genuine, attention isn't selective. It's total, it's instinctive, and it's tender. And that tenderness shows in how he responds to your breathing, your body language, the emotions you may not even say out loud, because a man in love doesn't need you to explain how you feel. He watches, he senses, he reacts in real time. He's gentle when he needs to be gentle, patient when you're unsure, playful when he sees you smile, and firm only in his commitment to making sure you feel safe, seen, wanted, and understood. And all of that comes not from lust, but from love, not from desire alone, but from devotion. And there's a big difference between someone who wants the moment to go well for their ego and someone who wants it to go well because they care deeply about how it affects you. Because they know your body is not separate from your heart. They know your mind doesn't shut off just because you're physically close. They understand that real intimacy is a blend of emotional intelligence, sensitivity, and selflessness. And that's when everything starts to feel different. That's when you feel like you can breathe, like you're not performing, like you don't need to play a part or be anyone but yourself, because when a man truly loves you, you don't feel like a role in his fantasy. You feel like a soul he's lucky to be close to, and he treats that closeness like it's the most sacred privilege he's ever had. And you know what else changes? He's not rushing anything. He's not pushing for what he wants. He's tuned in to what you need. He pays attention to the details. He'll pause to check in with your eyes, with your tone, with your stillness or your openness, because he knows those things tell a story that your words might not. And he's listening to every bit of it, not because he has to, but because he wants to, because your comfort and your emotions matter to him just as much as your attraction does. And that's what separates someone who's in it for connection from someone who's just chasing chemistry, because a man in love doesn't treat you like an event. He treats you like a feeling he wants to keep giving and receiving. And he brings that calm energy into every single touch. He doesn't just hold you physically, he holds you emotionally. And you feel that difference in every movement, in every pause, in every unspoken check-in, because it's not about perfection, it's about presence, not about technique, but about tenderness, about being there in the moment, entirely sincerely and wholeheartedly with you. The second thing he does is look at you in a way that feels like he's memorizing you. Not just watching, not just glancing, but truly seeing you, studying every expression, every nuance, every change in your breath, like he's capturing the essence of who you are in that moment. Because for a man who truly loves you, physical intimacy becomes a moment of emotional worship, not in a dramatic or poetic way, but in a way that feels real and grounding and deeply human. And you feel it because his eyes aren't filled with conquest. They're filled with care, with curiosity, with affection that runs deeper than desire. And the way he looks at you makes you feel like nothing else in the world matters in that moment. Like you're not just attractive. You're important. Like you're not just wanted, you're valued. Like you're not just beautiful, you're understood. And that gaze lingers, not to make you uncomfortable, but to make you feel safe in your own skin. Like every part of you is welcomed, accepted, even celebrated in a way that doesn't require you to shrink, to hide, or to fix anything about yourself. Because he's not scanning for perfection, he's soaking in presence. He's not mentally comparing, he's emotionally connecting. And you start to realize that this is what love feels like when it's not trying to impress, when it's not trying to dominate, but simply trying to hold space for someone's whole being. And that kind of eye contact, it changes everything. It slows time. It breaks down walls. It speaks even louder than words ever could, because it's not performative. It's not intentional in the manipulative sense. It's involuntary. It's the natural response of a heart that's attached, a heart that's invested, a heart that sees your vulnerability as a privilege, not a pressure. And that kind of love doesn't just make you feel good, it makes you feel grounded. You start noticing that when he looks at you like that, you don't second guess yourself as much. You don't spiral into insecurity the same way, because the way he sees you has a healing effect. Like he's reflecting back to you the parts of yourself you've doubted or hidden for so long. And there's no better mirror in the world than the eyes of someone who genuinely loves you, because it's not about what's on the surface. It's about what's shining through it. It's about how you breathe when you feel emotionally safe, how you move when you know you're being cherished, not judged. And even in your silence, he's paying attention to the language of your body, of your spirit, of your energy. And he holds that gaze as if to say, I'm not leaving, I'm not afraid, I'm not here for a version of you, I'm here for all of you. And that might sound small, but it's everything. Because in a world where most people are busy looking at what they want from you, a man in love is looking at who you are when you're unfiltered, when you're unguarded, when you're real. And he finds beauty in that rawness. He finds magic in the moment you stop trying and just let go. And he meets you there, not with pressure, but with presence, not with lust, but with love. And it doesn't feel like a scene. It feels like a sanctuary. It feels like he's honoring something rare and fragile and powerful. And that feeling, that deep soul seeing feeling, is something you will always recognize, because once someone has looked at you with that kind of love, you'll never forget how it made you feel seen, not just with the eyes, but with the heart. The third thing a man does when his love is genuine is he gives as much attention to after the moment as he does during it. Because for a man who truly loves you, intimacy doesn't end when the act is over. It evolves into a deeper kind of closeness. It becomes a space where emotional security takes over, where the physical connection turns into emotional grounding. And you feel it in the way he holds you afterward, not just as routine, not just out of habit, but like he wants to stay close to you, like your presence calms him, like staying connected is as important to him as breathing. And there's no rush. There's no shift in energy that makes you feel discarded or emotionally disconnected. Instead, there's a stillness, a softness, a desire to remain in that moment with you for as long as possible, because love doesn't clock out when pleasure ends. Love stays behind to nurture, to protect, to embrace what the world often forgets to value: the afterglow, the emotional safety, the holding, the stroking of your back, the brushing of your hair away from your face, the gentle kisses on your forehead that tell you he's still right there. He hasn't gone anywhere. Not mentally, not emotionally, not physically. And it's in those moments that you begin to understand just how different love looks when it's not performative, when it's not trying to chase validation, when it's not running from discomfort, but embracing every aspect of what just happened, including the emotional weight it may carry for you. And a man who loves you doesn't just care about how the moment felt physically, he cares how it left you feeling afterward. He checks in not because he's trying to be polite, but because your heart matters to him. Your thoughts matter. Your sense of closeness and comfort matter. And even if you don't say a word, he reads your body language, your breathing, the way you curl into him or the way you pull away. And he doesn't take that personally. He takes it seriously. He adapts, he adjusts, he stays present. And that consistent presence is what separates real love from fleeting passion. Because a man who's in it for you, not just the experience of you, wants to make sure you feel emotionally fulfilled, not just physically satisfied. And that's something you can't fake because you'll feel it in his body language, in his tone, in the way he speaks, softer after, in the way he listens closer, in the way he touches you without expectation, just to reassure, just to remind you that you are safe, that this wasn't just about desire, it was about devotion. And there's a certain kind of healing that happens when a man wraps himself around you, not because he wants more, but because he wants to give more, because he knows those few moments after are when your soul is most tender, most raw, most exposed. And he doesn't take that lightly. He sees it as a moment of trust, and he honors that trust by being fully there with you, not drifting off, not reaching for his phone, not rolling over to sleep, but staying connected emotionally and physically, like he's still listening, even in silence, like he's still speaking, even without words. And it's in those little gestures, the way he holds your hand, the way he kisses the top of your head, the way he gently traces circles on your skin, that he says, I love you without having to say anything at all. And you'll find that those quiet, post-intimacy moments are often more revealing than the intensity before them, because that's where truth lives. That's where security is built. That's where the bond deepens in a way that words and desire alone never could, because real love lives in what remains after everything else fades.